Welcome back, team, and we are here for the Midwest Championships 415s 2025, and we've got our D1 women's matchup here. Chicago Northshore going against the Pittsburgh Forge. My name is Darian Lovelace. I'm joined by none other than, you all know his name, Lance Kavanaugh. Lance, we got a matchup between these two one sides. What can we expect from this championship?
We're going to look forward to two teams who are powerhouses, not only in the Midwest, but in the Chicago Northshore sense, all throughout the nation. Chicago Northshore just now joining D1 this year, and can they make it a 1-for-1? Only the team who's been at the top of the heap for the entirety of these last 3 years, as Pittsburgh has, is a team to stand up and see if they can hold shape. But this is going to be an excellent matchup. Two deserving teams fighting for what will be a great opportunity heading into nationals.
Referee leading at the front there is David Zakaria there with the flag in tow as we get set up for this matchup between the two sides. On your right, looks like that's going to be our Pittsburgh Forge. And then on your left is going to be the Chicago Northshore side in their green. And it looks like we are getting set up here for the kickoff for our D1 Midwest champions as our center referee takes center stage. Whistle is blown and play is underway. Kick is up and it's right at the 10 there. And Pittsburgh Forge already under a lot of pressure there as somehow Chicago Northshore has come up with it. Messina moves to the pod and there's also a knock-on advantage. As now Chicago Northshore look to move it through the hands. A nice little out the back and a flat wayward pass finds itself dangerously close to the sideline. This one has been blown, so we'll come back to the original knock-on for Pittsburgh Forge. And Lance, that's a statement from the Northshore side.
Very beginning, the nerves taking a hold, early knock-on, and Chicago Northshore going right into attack from open play, running blocker lines wide on the far side of the field. It looks like structurally they're going to be attacking in shapes and patterns. The Forge has to hold strong. The Steel in the land of Steel has to hold strong as Steel is and keep the Chicago Northshore team from really building up confidence early as possible.
Messina with the put in with our first scrum here. And it's stable. A little bit of footwork from the Forge and some good pressure from LeBrun. Chicago Northshore now go to work. Get bottled up at the centers, and they're crossing the 40 now with some good leg drive coming in from Gerke. Going to the boot. They kick behind, and there's nobody at home here. Chase is on. Pressure looks good, and she decides to kick it out the back. The referee not happy with an infringement, it looks like, over here on this left-hand side. And that's a long whistle. So it'll be a penalty against Pittsburgh Forge for their offside.
And a sigh of relief for Pittsburgh. Smart play, attentive play, getting the ball off the park. So dangerous. Chicago Northshore inside the 5-meter line on a loose ball. That could spell calamity in the first 2 minutes. Able to keep cool. And the penalty saving them from maybe even a 5-meter scrum that close. Option to go for the scrum here, Chicago Northshore. It looks like they have a deliberate kind of approach that they want. They want to set up space, some structural things they probably worked on. Chicago looking like they want to lock in on the discipline early. The Forge doing a good job defensively, but you gotta end those mistakes and play straight up defense for a D1 Midwest Championship.
Almost like a deja vu. We'll have a scrum. It's a lot better, and it shoots at the back. Messina's got to clean it up, moves it to Fish. It's now in the hands of the center as Messina loops around, gets it in the hands of Kron. Kron gives a dummy and then knocks back inside. The referee did give an advantage.
Back!
Pittsburgh now having to regroup on defense as Chicago Northshore pummel on. The launch is good for Pittsburgh. And referee still allowing Northshore to play in this advantage. Crafton gets bullied backwards. And now the cavalry comes in. More scrum time, or more ruck time, excuse me.
Still on it.
We still have it. The advantage is now Northshore tries to knock within the 22. They do. Messina moves it to Kron, who gives a little kick through, but it's blocked well by Pittsburgh Forge, and yet again another
Late
penalty
hit, Black.
right
Time
outside
off.
of the 22.
Captain. Couple penalties in a row, unrelated. We had a late hit on the 10 coming out of this ruck back here. That's what this penalty is.
Okay.
I don't want to see that again. Okay? Please talk to the team.
Okay.
Who
And you can
lands
see the
there to get the talking
conversation.
to?
Right, the conversation was pretty direct. A lot of issues, a lot of penalties, the offsides, things like that. He wants it squared away and put away for the rest of this match. And good long advantage he held on that last build-up of play. It looks like he has a real control and sense of how he wants this game to flow as the sir.
Messina
No,
moves
through
it
the gate,
to two
please.
forward pods, and now they're breaking into the 22 here. Forwards are set as Crafton now takes it to the line and a nice double tackle. Gets them back over the 22. Lots of dancing here at this line. Messina moves it to Kron and a nice straightening line. Gets the knock on though. It looks like that was Eschry Brenner that knocks it on there. And now Pittsburgh Forge, after 4 minutes, get their first possession and their first shot at attack.
When the heat is on, you gotta be able to flow defensively, cover the space. But when it's time to harden up and make a strong force, they found a way. They've been holding on defense for a while, and that straight line just couldn't go to hand. And no real advantage being able to be played off of that knock on. Referee blows it very early. It's a very, very good flow of the game we're seeing from the serve. But defensively, Pittsburgh need to reward themselves, either clearing their lines or giving themselves some way to attack, because this is their real first attack.
LeBron also under a lot of pressure there, so the ball goes backwards, and Pittsburgh Forge chaotically kick. They do find some real estate there. Kron has to turn herself around there, back at the 50. Does a nice little step back inside and uses the fend there. And now Chicago Northshore are going to go ahead and get into their structure. Moving it now. They have a pod off of the fly half fish.
Leave it now, Black. Leave
Not
it.
making much meters here, though. They do get center field. Fish now, a lot of pressure coming in from Pittsburgh Forge. She's got to cut back inside.
Hold here.
The Forge are all set on the line here. Defensive launch, waiting a little bit there, so they do get some go forward there. She's still up and moving after the ball does get knocked backwards here. Backs will go ahead and have a go here. A nice flat pass to the 13. Then they use their forwards there. Loomis, though, has to clean up some wayward ball. Playing a lot of rugby here in this end, and it looks like that pass might have gone a little bit flat there. So now Pittsburgh Forge will go ahead and have a scrum, and a lot of rugby played down here in this 50, Lance.
So much of this match has been played on this half of the field. It's great to see the Forge be able to get their hands on the ball, set piece, some kind of routine. But again, these small mistakes, it was a straight line earlier that led to a knock, and now it's this ball here right in front of the ref. And then, marginal, the referee is right on top of that. Can't deny the positioning. But Forge need to create an opportunity for themselves offensively. No real ball in hand at all.
The run with the put in. This scrum looks a bit more stable here. They get a good wheel. Now the backs will have their go at it. Moves into the hands of the inside center and the outside centers. Both of them take that contact.
One step.
And they elect to move it back to the left-hand side with the forwards. A nice shoulder check there and some leg drive. And then the offload for the Sunny B. It bounces once and then finds its hand into the hands of Victory. And somehow, some way, Murphy is able to peel that one away for Chicago Northshore. And yet again, the team in green now will head on the attack, trying to get something going there. Looks like that was Saunders, tried to bully her way over.
Leave it now, Black.
And finding some real estate at ruck time is Messina. Messina gives a nice little dish of her own there. And a good fend here. Can she beat the last one? She does. And gets the first 5 on the board after that beautiful fend against Matt Way. That's going to be the number 9 Messina. Lance, look at this one.
And just the presence, 2 hands on the ball as she wheeled around, able to find the space through and put a step in And this was a one-woman show out in front, putting the team on top. And it seems like Northshore have been just waiting to bust at the seams. They've been stressing this Forge defensive line out so much and finally been rewarded with points off a solo effort after what earlier in this match was really team cohesion and forward ball and play that gave them the advantage, but able to find points nonetheless. Forge defensively held strong, but finally broke. The steel has finally been pierced. And there's a lot that can be said about this first bit of play, Darren.
Looks like it's fallen just a bit short here. So 5-0. Our score will stay. And Messina coming off of the Chicago Northshore, who were also runners-up for the Club Sevens Nationals. I mean, the Chicago Northshore right now are playing with a lot of speed and a lot of possession.
Yeah, I'm wondering how many of those players were on that sevens team. How many? They're playing in space. They're running organized play and open play. It seems like they've been well routine, well coached. And even though that try was more individualistic off of just playing rugby, what's in front of you, it looks like the North Shore have a confidence to work as a team. So it's scary times for the Forge.
Forge goes extremely deep, and Fish, the fly half, unable to reel that one in. And a knock on now, get them in. I mean, you couldn't ask for better attacking position here. We're about 10 meters outside of the try zone, Pittsburgh Forge ball.
And, you know, not to say that there's any kind of luck involved, but for the Forge, this is a moment that just was gifted to them. Marginal knock, unable to gather, and now the Forge have the opportunity of a lifetime, or of the game time, their first real attacking opportunity.
Pittsburgh Forge keep the ball in, and LeBrun finally works it out now. Gets it into the hands of Pridgen. Pridgen gets brought down, and it looks like there's a North Shore player stuck under there. That's Kron, so they get the penalty, and everybody's flocking towards it. Taking it on herself is Sarver, and Sarver, she fumbles the ball about 2 meters outside of the try zone. And Lance, what do you do if you're one of your teammates after you just saw that knock on right outside the try zone?
It's so many things that can be said. Because you've been starved of opportunity, you might work a little bit too fast, might be a little bit too frantic. That quick tap, the idea was beautiful. The execution, unfortunately, has left us wanting. Forge with an amazing opportunity at the 5-meter line for a penalty. Unable to convert, but they still have work to do defensively, which has been strong for them.
Forge at the front line do a good job, and somebody else who also does the same thing is Loomis. Loomis, the number 8, is well over the 22 now, and Pittsburgh Forge now are making a mess at ruck time, coming in through the gate, and the referee is happy with that turnover there, so LeBurn moves it to center field there, and Pridgen is there to take center stage. Lots of good contests happening at the line here. Chicago North Shore, they elect to leave the breakdown alone. And a nice inside pass finds its way right into the teeth of the Chicago North Shore defense. Nice slice at the line gets Wen further into the 22. They've got some space to work with if they can. They move it to the number 11. She's around the corner. Looks like that's Matway. Matway will go ahead and get the first 5 on the board for the Pittsburgh Forge. And wow, what a team try.
And again, the steel bends but doesn't break after giving up a line break from the back of a scrum that got him pushed outside of 22. The Forge forcing a turnover and building up phases to get the space on the outside so that Laura Mataway with the jump and hop over can put the ball down and give Forge their first points of this match. And that right there is a bit of what makes a championship team. Even when you have your moments and don't make the most of them, you still hold strong, still hold firm. And when the opportunity presents itself again, you get the points. And that try right there is a very big confidence boost, because with maybe their second real offensive attack opportunity, this one off a turnover, they get the points they need and a chance to take the lead. If the win would just wait a second so we can get a kick.
No, they ain't waiting at all for the number 15 Patino's ball goes off the tee, so she's having to reset. And if you take a look, I mean, just look at that flag in the background there. She runs out of time, so this kick is a little bit rushed. It doesn't look like it's got the distance, so we're going to stay here 5-5. And Lance, we're seeing the wind now really start to rev up here in the Midwest. What does it mean for these two teams as the wind kind of comes in and throws a little bit of a damper on the party?
Your options become limited, right? Your decisions to kick now have to be a lot more forced or obvious when you decide to kick. You might have to wean away from some of the longer passes or longer throws. And really, these lineouts is really when you can see it, because there's not as much velocity on the ball. It controls it so well early on. We can see how this weather really affects this matchup.
Lotito from the Forge gets set, gives a run up of her own, and now finds herself right in the middle of the 40 and the 50. The Chicago Northshore, though, after a heavy tackle, get a turnover, and it looks like one of the Pittsburgh Forge players slow to get up. Sarver. Referee does give the sign of a knock-on advantage for Green. Moreland met heavily by Sarver. Pittsburgh Forge elect to keep all of their mates on their feet. Fish now looking to take it to the line.
Advantage over.
He finds a little bit of a seam here as now the advantage is over. The fly half looking more like a center there with those fens, as now a nice straightening line coming in from Lamont. Get them further down. And Pittsburgh Forge leaving some gaps open around the interior defense. They recover well. And now they're looking to move it wide. Cron decides to give it back into the outside center, and somehow they knock it on there. Laverne comes in to try and get some things going here. Referee signaling that the Forge now have the advantage.
Advantage over.
Laverne moves it to Hoff, and Hoff gets a nice boot. Cron's got to turn around and pick it up and dances with that sideline. Somehow she makes it work.
Retreat.
And Cron looks like she might have been a little bit in front of the 22 here. Ball does not find touch, though.
Now
Messina
let go.
is all over that one, as are the Forge.
Back, Green.
And they're successful at fielding that kick as they start to get over the 50. Nice little tips pass, though. Comes in for Wen. And now they elect to move it out the back here. Base opens up. Now Pridgeon's off to the races here, is trying to find the offload. Rolls around, though, and decides to set the platform. They're deep within the 22 now, as Matt Way, our try scorer, tries to lead up that pod. She gets bent by Tooney. Sarver drops the shoulder, and there's just heaps of the team in green waiting to make these hits. Burkett with the ball on the ground here. Laverne now moving it through to the forwards. Lotito is taking the ground, and Chicago Northshore are shifting and recovering well on the defense. Using Hoff. Hoff elects to go ahead and just take 3 Chicago Northshore players with her. And leaving the Rucks alone, they want to go ahead and keep this defensive launch. Golden Strong is at Northshore, but this Pittsburgh Forge defense is under a lot of pressure here.
Too high.
And referee not happy with the entry that came in from Honey. And so we'll see what the Pittsburgh Forge decide to do here.
And you see the Forge able to really just barrel forward. They have so much open play flexibility. They're crashing with the forwards, going out the back to the backs. They're bringing their wingers in to crash balls, which I love. I love when the wingers get involved to the forward work. And just little by little, the Forge find themselves really moving up the field. That high tackle, ball on the ground, pass from the ground. Attacker really wasn't standing up straight or attacking or moving in any way, and was bent a little bit, took a hit a bit high. I agree with the call immediately. Like, that was a bit high. Ref right on top of it. And now the Forge, 8-meter line, great opportunity again. Last time they were here, push back.
Last foot, please.
Throwing from Wen, and by the tips of her fingers, she's able to get it. And I mean, they are barreling over. Wen decides to break off there. It's a 1v1 with Messina. Messina might have gotten her out of bounds there with a nice driving tackle. What a way to shut her out.
Her right foot.
And Messina is putting on a great high-level championship performance. Not only scoring a try earlier on the solo work, but there is nothing stopping this try from going in. You have Nguyen so close, Amy so close to putting that try down, and with the heart of a lion, the scrum half stops the hooker from sliding in for points.
I got 3 receivers here.
Inspiring bit of play.
Oh, you're going to have to fight for some pride there on that one
Guys,
with the
both
scrum half
teams
taking
are
it
up
out.
before the throw. That timing is bad, okay? We're going to reset with a green line out. Throw's got to happen first or simultaneously. Hold that spot.
Referee
Thank you.
unhappy with the throw in there, or the put up from both sides here. So we got to wait until the ball gets thrown in. It looks like this is going to be crafted. We'll take the throw. Chicago North Shore, the ball ends up behind the lifting pod. They somehow managed to get Lamont with hands on it. And they'll use the forwards now to generate some space here. Cron calling for the wall here as Messina is going to dig out. Cron gives a kick. And so the forwards now will get a line out at the 22. I mean, what does it mean whenever you almost get over the line and you get shut out like that?
It means that something was working. That rolling maul was on point. It was moving. She probably didn't have to pull it as early as she did. Could have gave it a little bit of more time. Not to second guess, but the opportunity was there. Everyone did everything right and it didn't work out. So why not do it again or a variation of it to see how this one works out?
When it does get it into the hands, referee, though, not happy with the direction the ball went. It's considered not straight. And Chicago North Shore, they're going to choose the scrum at the 22.
And clear decision here. They've been waiting for a chance to clear their lines, choosing to go to the kick after a few crash balls when the last time they found themselves this close. And I don't know if North Shore should really give up on these crash balls. They seem to be finding a lot of meterage behind, pushing some of these forwards from the forwards backwards. And it's a great opportunity not to set up a kick, but to set up everything else, because it seems like North Shore is finding success when they do it.
And you got to make sure that your forwards have the engine to do it. So we'll see what they pull out here. Pittsburgh Forge, though, almost to get over the line. And at the back line for Chicago North Shore is under a lot of pressure there. And that connection just not making sense there in the middle for the North Shore.
Yeah, and, you know, we have the perfect vantage point from the booth. We're looking with the perfect angle. And it looked like out the back was the better option. It looked like in that case, maybe not going to that flat pass, but leaning and going to that back, out the back, because they ran it beautifully. There goes your first layer. Second layer is there, and everyone seems to be brought in. Quick hands maybe from the fullback to the winger. It looked like they could have got around the corner. And just the thought to push that pass just shows so much as well for this North Shore team. They got some magic working with the back line.
Waiting at the back for that was Jackson. Jackson picks from the back of the scrum there, and Pittsburgh Forge now settle into their pattern. Calling for the forwards to really take it on her shoulders is Burkett. Up next, waiting for it is Lotito. Lotito, though, gets smashed back by Tunney. Now we've got Hoff with the ball in hand. Hoff with little to no options. She's got to move it back inside, and Chicago North Shore, I mean, holding the line here as 2 tackles in a row get them on the back shoulder. They've got space to work with it wide, but they can move it, though. Gerke. And right there is Wen. Wen using the legs. It's a couple more meters there. Scott now moves it into the hands. Hoff's got it. Hoff decides to go back inside, and a high tackle comes in from Loomis. And Pittsburgh Forge have the advantage here. Deciding to go ahead and do a pick-a-go of her own is Patinos. LeBron moves it back into Jackson. Jackson. And they've got a new advantage now for an offsides, as they elect to dive for ankles here and look for the pick and go. Getting those meters going. They end up getting tackled back on top of the ruck here. Looking for a seam here.
Hold here.
Burkett gets twisted around, and they lose some meters. Chicago North Shore holding strong in this defense. LeBrun is at the back of it. We do an inside pass. And now the backs want it. Hoff, though, takes her hands off it for a second. She knocks it on, but they've got 2 advantages. Looks like they're going to take the closest one here, 5 meters out.
Time off. We got scrum election, captain. That's 2 high tackles for you guys. Just improve the discipline for me. Please have a chat. We've got a scrum here to black.
Whoa.
Couldn't have said it any better, Lance.
Whoa. It's so much about that bit of play that can be like absolutely critiqued to a high standard. Murphy and Loomis had a big double tackle in the middle of the field. The forward pack for Chicago Northshore is holding strong, but you're seeing that fatigue set in, right? Giving the forwards opportunities to go around the corner, not tackling with proper form and technique, right? The forwards piling it on, able to have consistent ball control and to control the ball is putting Chicago Northshore in defensive places they don't want to be.
Use it, Black.
And the Forge are getting the go forward. Referee, though, Zakaria, says that they've got to use it. Hoff moves it into the hands of Morgante, who gives it to Pridgeon. And they move it back to this left-hand side. They get caught flat-footed, though, and Chicago Northshore, I mean, Murphy alone led that charge. And they get the turnover here. Messina using her forwards now. And Cron calling for forwards to keep it on the left-hand side. Using one more forward pod now. Cron might call for it now to give it a boot and get them out of trouble. Nice use of the pick and go, though, as Lamont gets taken to ground. Cron under a lot of pressure there from the Forge. Puts on quite the charge there, so she doesn't get a lot of go forward.
You're good.
The ball goes out right at the, it looks like that's about 10 meters.
Cool.
It's like a flip of fortune. In the beginning of the game, we were on the Chicago Northshore end of the field. They were putting in work, getting close, finally pushed through. Now it seems like we found ourselves on the Forge side of the field, and we've been here for quite a while. Forge has to find a way to punch it in, get points, or at least really threaten in a way like they have earlier.
Ball's got a lead. Ball's got a lead.
The chess match.
Nice little,
the chess match, Darian. The chess match.
Yeah, nice little truck and trailer there to get them out of trouble.
And it seems they might have did it the right way. Instead of backing off immediately, they split and allowed that trailer to go forward without there being clear connection to make it a maul. And just a little bit of Chicago Northshore realizing that last maul they had was dangerous. They almost scored. This time, and just like Voodoo, using their own force, Judo, using their own force against them to find a way to get over, it looks like they found a way to use the Forge's own enthusiasm to get that rolling maul going. Great thought process by the Northshore.
Thank you.
Hey, look, whatever works for him. If you read the rule book, 9 times out of 10, you read something that nobody else knows about there. So Forge just weren't expecting it. From there, you're going to line out right at the 22 in the backs now, moving it through Fish's hands. And putting on some pressure there is Pridgeon. She is able to draw the knock-on. It looks like it was a knock-on on the Pittsburgh Forge, so Chicago Northshore will get the ball here. But, I mean, Lance, it looked like they were running a little bit sideways, Northshore.
Yeah, they've been running these layers, and I think it was just ball and player at the same time on the tackle. It didn't look like it was a clear swat at the ball. It looked like it was a reach to go make the tackle. I'm glad that wasn't an intentional knock. Penalty caught. The knock-on call is appropriate. But, again, you see how comfortable Northshore is playing the layers game going to the far side of the field. It might work out big for them later as this game goes on.
5 and 5 apiece and 25 minutes gone here. Pittsburgh Forge are getting over that front line there. Taking it out, though, well, it was Loomis who gets it to Messina. Messina now moves it to Fish. Fish is looking for out the back, and she finds Cron. Cron pins the last one here. As that dancing with the sideline is the wing. And Riviero gets dragged out to touch by the Pittsburgh Forge.
Go forward. Great bit of play. Great bit of recognition, connection, playing the layers game. Players are coming out the back, resourcing themselves to get around the outside. And right when it would have been a great place to set up to go back to the far side of the field, Forge opportunistic to get the tackler out of bounds. And just a great bit of play from the Northshore.
Ball gets bobbled there at the front. Wen has to clean it up some. And LeBron moves it to the backs. They've got a forward pod there in the middle and somebody who's able to make something out of nothing. That's Morgante. Morgante uses the fence and gets the Pittsburgh Forge right at the 22 here. Wanting to go quick was Matt Way. Matt Way moves it to Hoff, and Hoff yet again takes it into contact. By half, really taking away some options here. Burkett Burkett more than happy. Taking a couple of defenders here. When is set. Looks right out the back. She does connect well here. And just the ball going over the fingertips of Lotito. But we heard that long whistle glance, and it seems like Messina might have gotten caught at the bottom of that ruck, so a not rolling away penalty. I mean, how many opportunities can the Forge get?
And that line break was about as clean as we've seen all day, right? The recognition to slide through that gap, find the space. Messina, miracle tackle to really slow down and stop that line break that could have exploited them on both sides after that ball was resourced. Couldn't roll away and giving the Forge another opportunity. That could have been probably one of the better defensive plays if only she was able to get herself away from that ruck. And again, the Forge making the most out of the smallest mistakes from Northshore, getting a line break. And again, the Forge forwards are putting a very confrontational front against this Northshore side.
You got a 22.
Patinos tries to get it through. You would think that it would have gone through, but this went. I mean, she had center right in front of the 22, and it is unsuccessful here, so our score will stay 5-5.
Unfortunately, the weather playing.
Still available to them often, quickly.
Understood. On your 9 not rolling away, it was not available.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So now we'll have a 22 drop out. Fitch will take this one.
Yeah, I wanted the referee to be able to say his piece, but the weather affecting this matchup is also playing into the story. 3 points off the board for Forge, not able to convert off that Northshore mistake.
Getting it from behind the shoulder was Lotito. And forwards are really getting held up there at the line by Chicago Northshore's defense. When, though, elects to move it out the back to Morgante. She almost gets through and gets the offload to Hoff. Hoff trying to find an offload of her own. She can't, though. She gets taken to ground too quickly. Oh, and always there, ready for the ball is Burkett. Chicago Northshore. Keep everybody in the line here. And a solid launch. Wen gets right at the 22 now. Morgante moves it in. Hoff not getting really many meters there. She gets a couple with some good ball placement. Sarver had no options there with some good defense coming in from the team in green. Options on both sides. LeBrun goes to the right. Referee, though, notices a knock on there, and after many phases of attack, Chicago Northshore win that fight.
Opportunity, again, given to the Forge, able to find themselves still on this side of the field. I forgot, I don't know what color the grass is on the other side of the field. I forgot, I haven't seen it in so long. But again, the Forge, it might be a little greener, I don't know, but just small little mistakes, unable to capitalize on these great opportunities their defense is giving them. Has to be repeated because their defense is doing so much. The Forge holds strong defensively.
Guys, we'll reset.
And you can hear how unhappy everybody was on that scrum. So referee's going to go ahead and reset it here. 5-5, and we've got about 10 minutes to go as our referee Zachariah decides to move it just a little bit to the right here.
Just a drip. We don't want any more traction issues. Just move it over.
Way too much rugby down here. Deep within the 22. They're at center pitch.
Set. Keep it up.
Chicago Northshore losing a little bit of footing here. Messina there to connect with Fish. Prawn connects well and gives a little bit of a grubber through. Doesn't get a lot of meters there. And waiting for that, foaming at the mouth was Patinos. Patinos works hard to stay in.
Tackle.
Wants to throw it back in, and Loomis was there, ready for the ball. Chicago Northshore now with ball in hand. Moving it through the forwards' hands, and they give some beautiful offloads. little bit of some flat attack now, cutting off some options here with the Pittsburgh Forge. What a nice soft defense. Messina patient at the back. And the defense patient as well for the Forge. Lamont gets them over the 50 now. Messina taking her time here. So we've got a forward runner, Kron. Kron uses dummy a few times. Kron dishes a Fen, and now Kron is passing the 40. She's passing the 22 now and offloads it beautifully back into Ribeiro. Ribeiro, though, loses the ball for just a split second. And it looks like referee also not happy with that ruck entry here from Hoff. And so a diving over penalty. Kron elects to go quickly, connects with Fish. Fish using the shoulder. She boomfas off a few and is still going forward, gets close to the line, and a referee is happy with that grounding as Fish is just able to get just a skosh over there. And so now 10-5 right before the half, Chicago North Shore.
Kabloom offensive explosion. Offensive explosion. Off of the work from this line break, able to get a pass off, and the support defense is there for the Forge. Still fighting, still ever strong. The ball is loose in the ruck. The idea to get on it is there, but you got to stay controlled in gathering the ball. Can't fall over top of the ruck. North Shore goes quick. The speed of North Shore going to their backs, the way they've been doing it this entire match, finally yields dividends. And only in one movement from hitting the ground, the ball is placed in the try zone. Referee in perfect position, no arguing. Strong whistle, long arm, 5 points for Chicago North Shore off a great backs worked try.
Looks like the number 14, Dreyer Rents Ribeiro, will take this kick to the right, and looks like it veers a little bit to the left. Wind playing a factor here as our score is going to stay 10-5. And I mean, Chicago North Shore, when they do have the ball in hand, I mean, they showed that they can score. We really didn't see them with much possession. I mean, Pittsburgh Forge had a lot of it that first half.
Yeah, and I actually got to see the color of the grass on that side. It's the same color, not any more green or not.
Green.
Finally, North Shore finds a break. And off of just a big play, they've been scoring off of big plays. Hasn't been crazy buildup of phases. They found them situations and set pieces, and a couple phases after the set piece, really exploding off solo runs and solo moments. And the Forge defensively holding strong, but now found themselves just a bit weakened.
Choosing to pin them down in this end. Forge give a good boot to it. Fish fields this one cleanly and then gives a kick back to her own, but it goes straight.
Yeah.
Does not go straight out of bounds, so referee happy with the exit of the ball here. So the lineout will go in favor of the Pittsburgh Forge.
And again, we find ourselves on this half of the field with Forge having an opportunity. They've answered the call previously, not allowing Chicago North Shore to double up on consecutive points, able to put a try in between. Let's see if they can do it again. The Forge, line-out opportunity.
Goes over the heads of the primary target. Now the ball is taking a couple of bounces there. Burkett has to play janitor. She cleans up the ball well and sets them with a good platform. Hoff gives it to Patinos. Chicago North Shore, again, leaving the ruck alone and keeping everybody on their feet. Wen gets taken down quickly by Loomis. And it looks like Murphy almost got her hands in there. Excuse me, that was Moreland. Off now with a nice little tip pass. But running out of options on that right-hand side. Sarver cuts back in. Oof. And a big takedown there. Victory is not victorious at that contact. Chicago North Shore just seem to be heating up here. Getting pinned down, though, on the end was Eschenbrenner. She gets out, and then Burkett decides to go ahead and hit that gap. And just chipping away is this attack. They use the out-the-back option. Hoff is under a lot of pressure. Just is not able to connect with Lotito. Fish gets the ball back in hand and then gives a kick. We're still deep within this end, and I mean, right back where we started.
And it seems like almost a role reversal. Now the Forge are building these phases up, getting 8 phases before, unfortunately, that ball just thrown. The wind has been affecting the way this ball has been in flight off the pass. Pay attention to how this scrum half handle it and how much space the forwards and scrum halves have from each other. Again.
Jackson connects well, but LeBrun just not able to connect with Hoff. Forwards have to come in and clean up. Morgante moves it to Hoff. And Patinos gets some real estate there. She breaks through a couple of tackles. And now they're looking to push the speed some. Wen gives a step off the right-hand side and uses those legs to get taken to ground here. Chicago North Shore. Moreland with the launch. Takes down Jackson. And they've got room to work with on the left-hand side if they wanted to. But they move it back in, right into the pressure area. And Vorzak was fed to the Wolves there. Scott steps up, moves it to Victory.
Rock.
LeBrun comes in to clean that up here. And when a lot of rugby being played with just the forwards here, Lance.
Yeah, a whole lot. And it's just a hit-up fest. We're watching tackle after tackle after tackle. Midwest rugby in your face, big collisions.
And Lotito knocks it on there. And then Fish, or excuse me, that was Cron, decides to go ahead and kick it out. And we'll get a line out right outside of the 22 here. But the forwards, I mean, I just feel like they're asking a lot of these forwards here at the back line.
Yeah, and it seems like it's not necessarily the bad thought. When the ball goes to the backs, it somehow gets lost. The ball maybe bounces where it isn't. The wind having so much effect, the forwards being the primary source of meterage for this forward side.
Sarver is extremely smart at that front here. The Chicago North Shore side backs off of the line out and splits open, so she decides to go ahead and take it through and gets them into the 22. LeBrun moves it back to Wen. Wen more than happy to take this one, and Chicago North Shore more than happy to bring her to ground. A nice double tackle. As Kronberg also finds herself, and they're getting ready to go back outside of the 22 if they can't get to go forward.
Tackle!
And yet again trying to take them out of the club, Lotito. And this back line looking extremely flat here as Scott makes some meters. And deciding to get a taste of it is the number 15, Patinos. Patinos joins the forwards as a fullback and gets it right between the sticks. 5 for the Forge. And it looks like that kick might be our final play of the half.
And what another break by the Forge. The chess match continues, pulling away from that previous line out. They get the penalty. The Forge are smart now. And Crystal Clare is there for the points. Sliding through, letting it be obvious the Forge are here for a fight. And with the kick conversion so close, middle of the sticks, we might find the Forge with the lead going into halftime. After what has been essentially a back and forth battle, both teams really showcasing who they are, but the Forge forcing 5 and the conversion. And what a way to end the halftime for Pittsburgh.
Yes.
Patinos is successful with that conversion. So 12-10, we've got Pittsburgh Forge finally on top here. We've got a lead change. We still have a whole second half to play for this Midwest Championship for the D4 women's bracket. Stay with us. We got a lot more rugby.
They would benefit from 1 meter of depth.
So the RCT out here has been amazing. I came out here because I know that all the states out here have some great youth rugby, and I was not disappointed in any way. So saw some amazing action out here from both young men and young women, and it's looking pretty bright for our future here.
Cool.
What's your favorite part about playing rugby?
I really like the camaraderie of it, and like the game is just so physical and it's fun. It's hard, like even though it's hard for me.
Yeah, rugby has helped me stay consistent, and as a woman, I feel really empowered being able to tackle people. It just changes lives.
You want to try my whistle?
It's a pedal whistle from 1965.
Most I'm smart and strong and beautiful. Most girls work hard, go far, we are unstoppable. Most girls are fight to make every day. Left to right, the sun. I wanna be like.
So actually, before I started playing rugby, I was just a cheerleader for my high school, and I was very shy, nervous, and being around teammates. Rugby is a very accepting sport. I wasn't embarrassed about my body or anything. People really welcome you and actually like take your strengths and weaknesses and work with you to like make you a better person and player.
You hit each other and then you're friends. I really like the camaraderie of it, and like the game is just so physical and it's fun.
Definitely try it. Like maybe you don't think you're the strongest, but once you go out and like you hit someone, that adrenaline is so amazing.
I thought everybody was going to go nuts because she wasn't touched. Megan never actually put up the fucking...
It's great. We all love each other. We all like hanging out at these tournaments. I mean,
just meeting so many new people and getting to know them is just amazing, and meeting so many new friends.
Nah, one word is family.
Yeah, wow.
Like you got people like you can depend on.
Probably my favorite part of playing rugby is like I can forget any problem I'm having at school or at home or just any kind of worry or burden and just like give it my all on the field. And
we all choose to come here. We don't have to be here, you know. It's just good fun coming out on a Sunday, playing, getting all together, and just great.
All right, so yeah, I think it's the fact that we can play very hard, smack each other up, boom each other, and just eat good, and talk to laugh with each other after.
Yeah.
It's brought up a lot of my confidence. I wasn't very confident in middle school, and I knew that if I wanted to become a better player, I would have to bring up my game, which I did, and I've just become so much like a better person to myself. I see myself in such a bigger light, and I'm honestly so much happier playing rugby.
I ain't gonna lie, if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would like.
Yeah, I know. Who would?
Like be around here, to be honest. So I guess family.
New York Rugby Club is a great community because they put you around great people, such as Alex, Coach Alex, and he teaches me more about rugby, how I can make my game better every day and elevate it to the next.
Nah, but like you feel me? But like I bet like you know how the hood is, so you know like it's crazy, like around shooters and all that stuff. So it's just keeping me around out from there, and then changing from like me got to worry about I can't walk here instead of just changing my life and being positive and don't need to worry about anything that much.
In those situations, you got to really make that flag.
I think people really underestimate women in sports.
I think you had your hand around.
In my school, rugby is really strong, and I don't think a lot of people expect that women can have the sort of strength or like sort of drive that men can have in sports. And I mean, you can see today, like it's pretty much even. Women want to, you know, have an outlet for physical contact or something to blow off steam just as much as men do, and they're just as physical, and we're just as, I guess, you can say aggressive as men can be, and we can be just as successful on the rugby field. So I think it's just helped me learn that whatever a man can do, I can do it. It's no worries, I can do exactly what they do.
Just penalty, get a few tries on the board, and then, okay. I see. Captains, I'd like you each to elect a team member to go sit down for 10 minutes. Are they? And what does that indicate? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, as we see the Pittsburgh Forge now set for the kickoff, and they choose to elect and go deep. 12 to 10 now, and Pittsburgh Forge are fiery after they block out Bish's attempt to kick for touch and plants right from the jump. Multiple handling errors from both sides. What do you think they talked about at halftime? Getting ready for the scrum.
Set.
Is Messina. Messina's there to dig it out. It goes on the left-hand side. She's got to work it to Kron. And a nice little out the back. Does not connect well with the centers here. And so Pittsburgh Forge end up with it now within the 22. Having to protect the ball. They look for some options. LeBron elects to move it to the left. Jackson. It's finally taken to ground. It's really hard up at the point of contact, and when a primary ball carrier for this first half.
Roll.
And just again, the Forge are forging ahead. Like, Chicago has to minimize the mistakes. You can't start the half immediately giving the Forge opportunity to really surge ahead. Their confidence is so high right now.
They move it to the right-hand side, and so now they've got more than enough options there. Referee, though, very unhappy with that obvious obstruction there. Scott gets caught in front of Hoff. Looks like they might have been trying to use that multi-layer attack, Lance.
Yeah, and sometimes the timing just might not sit right when you're so flat on attack. You might have to slow down, not run it through, and unfortunately just got a bit in the way. Any referee worth their salt will call that one. And Northshore now with an opportunity for another kick to clear their lines because they want to make sure they keep that space of their own try zone. It seems like Forge has been really able to keep the ball in hand until they don't. And Chicago Northshore again with an amazing opportunity to clear their lines and really forge an attack for themselves.
Crafton will get a throw in about 5 meters outside of the 40. A long throw though, and it's short. So Wen is there to field the ball. And so Pittsburgh Forge now will be on the attack there. Burkett is right there, and I mean, they really didn't want her to get much go forward. They were offsides.
Mark's here, not
Referee's
over there,
going to go ahead and call it back through the mark.
That line out really was a bit of chaos. I'm not sure if a Chicago North player hit the ball with their hands or if it bounced off of someone that was lifting. But again, a Forge. Another opportunity, simple knock on, rolls into an offside advantage, and now Forge with a great chance right around the 10-meter line. So many choices on attack right here. Do they go with the line outs where they go right to a maul? It seems like Northshore has found a way to counter that, and they've countered the counter. It's just been a chess match with these line outs.
One in cahoots there, and somebody there to go ahead and stop them in their tracks was Tunny. Tunny gets that, and so now the inside center, and the center's moving out to the wing. The wing's got it. Rents Riviero. There's a beautiful offload too. Looks like that might be Kron. And Kron making herself a menace there. She gets rolled the wrong way though, and it's awkward.
Not 10, not 10, now 10.
And it looks like a penalty committed at breakdown time. Gets the Pittsburgh Forge underway there. Setting us up was at Pridgeon. Hoff with no other options. She decides to cut back inside. And LeBrun looking for runners on either side. She finds it in Victory. Morgante, she had a few line breaks in the first half. And Pittsburgh Forge sitting right at the 50 here. And the attack really starting to flatten up for them. This launch from Chicago looks extremely promising. Go ahead and using the box kick. LeBron doesn't really get much oomph on that one. It goes behind where the ruck was at. And Lotito And they lose about 10 meters there. Goes off at the pace of victory. And Lance, things getting extremely chaotic for the Forge here.
Yeah, and chaos is really giving them opportunities. They turn the ball over by bringing chaos to these rucks. They find themselves getting go for it by bringing chaos with the forward pack. It seems like the more disorganized and off the cuff this game gets, the better the Forge have opportunities, just like off that kick.
Lotito had a beautiful opportunity off of that one. She gets them the movement forward. Referee, though, for a not releasing penalty against the Pittsburgh Forge, stops that momentum dead in its track. Chicago Northshore, you can see Messina already calling for some calm.
And just a bend but don't break for the North Shore side, able to get their hands on that ball. There wasn't a rolling away by the tackler, but there were no Forge players in the area as the ball was being contested. Clear not releasing by the tackle player, and the Forge, who caused chaos to get themselves the ball back after a great line break from North Shore, after a turnover on the line out, now find themselves playing defense, able really have to show again why they need to keep this lead and give North Shore as much problems on this attack opportunity.
Guys, that's not straight.
Looks like Chicago North Shore. We're going to start rolling on some subs here. Fisher went and took a seat, and it looks like Lozak Hammer is going to be on as a replacement. A not straight call, though. Gets a scrum that goes in favor of the Pittsburgh Forge.
And the lineouts for both sides have been, you know, a story. It's been a chess match. There's been simple mistakes. There's been turnovers. There's been great moments built off of these lineouts. And again, the lineouts are really going to be a point of concern for the ending of this match, especially with the wind having such an effect on so much going on in this match.
Looks like Lamont, the lock, went to flanker here. Pittsburgh Forge keeping the ball in. They're trying to draw a penalty, but the Chicago North Shore, it bends, but it doesn't break. Hoff gives a nice flat pass to Morgante. LeBrun decides to move it to the right-hand side, back to Scott. And Wen finds a little bit of flair there. She keeps on pumping the legs. Scott decides to use the 9 skills and gets it to Jackson. She gets a little isolated there, but they do well to clean it up. Sarver moves it to the back line, and taken down quickly is Pridgeon. A lot of players playing some scrum half positions here as the Chicago North Shore defense holding extremely strong here, Lance.
Use now, Black. No, Green, leave it.
They are, and even in that maul opportunity, really sneaking for ways to get the ball back, but not rolling away and joining that ruck from the side after that maul ended. Just again, North Shore strong on defense, but it seems like at the very end, one side makes a mistake that changes everything. Again, we have a penalty, and the lineouts, which have been such a story, come back into play for this match. Chicago North Shore defense strong, but giving up that penalty really changes a little bit from this matchup early in the second half. And you see the player on the bottom of the maul not rolling away, not moving, but the attack, the scrum half from the side, not really being on sides at that point.
I got it, Captain. Not straight. What do you have?
I mean, so many different rule changes as well, just for the protection of the 9 alone. I mean, as of right now, it's really hard to get a clear path to the 9 now in general. So referee, I mean, that was pretty obvious from coming in from the side. Pittsburgh Forge, they kick for touch. They don't field the line out. It's considered not straight. These wind conditions, I mean, are not setting these players up. And the Chicago North Shore side elect for the scrum. And Messina will be there with the put-in.
Yeah, that second line out with the wind issue, not straight, is really showing itself as this match goes on.
Forge move the feet a lot, and Chicago North Shore hold their weight extremely well there. Pittsburgh Forge get caught driving up. So they get a long arm penalty, and they're going to go ahead and scrum it yet again.
Yeah, with the how lineouts are going, your options are minimized. We quick tap and we go play now, or we go back to the scrum with the penalty. And also, you definitely want the referee keep an eye on these scrums. If you're the Chicago Northshore, you want to force the Forge into these uncharacteristic penalty opportunities, maybe get a card, or maybe get themselves a little bit of sympathy from the ref as well.
Scott was the one who got the talking to on this right-hand side. We'll see if they drive straight. They do. Referee much happier with that drive there. And Chicago Northshore keep the boots on the ground. Fish moves it through the hands. Ball does not connect well. And Matt Way is swarmed by the Pittsburgh Forge here. And you can hear what it means to the crowd here as they start to rev up some. Replacement coming in for Chicago Northshore. We'll get you that number here in a minute. Looks like that's Rossman. Moreland now in center pitch. And Chicago have the overload. The Pittsburgh Forge, they fold well. Messina's under a lot of pressure there as it looks like Luckett, or excuse me, that's Burkett who came up with it. And they take it right into the pressure area. We'll see if they can get out of that one. Sarver, it's taken to ground. LeBrun connects with Victory. Victory almost getting taken out the club there. And they've got to clean it up as now the Forge are moving backwards with this defensive launch coming in from Northside. Now with the ball in hand, they use the out the back, and they do get the overload there. It's in the hands of the speedster here, and Rossman comes along, and heartbreak, as now they're right at the 40. That line break almost looked a little bit too clean, Lance.
Just a little bit. I want to see the wingers run free. We finally get a chance. Ball in hand on the outside. Winger attack.
We need a minute.
Gets snuffed out by great inside source defense.
14, are we good? You need a minute.
And the tackle was definitely powerful. Might have landed a little bit on her. Might have landed just a little bit awkwardly getting hit there. We got Gilbert on the edge. It's a foot race. Misses the fin and just falls right on top of the ball. Great inside defense from this Northshore team. Rossman finding herself getting into the action. But we just watched the Chicago Northshore defensive launch push the Forge backwards. Continuously push them backwards. Right in their face as soon as they get their hands on the ball. And it took a little bit of winger action to get a line break and get more space. Unable to make the most of it. But the forward pack and the center bit of defense for the Chicago Northshore side has been stout, powerful, aggressive, confrontational. And they've been winning some of these defensive hit-ups for themselves really well.
Gilbert was down for a minute. It seems like she's up and moving, and we will get the scrum for Chicago Northshore.
Crouch!
So we can turn to the final 30 minutes of this D1 Midwest Championship.
Set!
Scrum looks powerful. Getting a little bit scrunched up there. Chicago Northshore, they stay long. Fish. Messina loops around. She almost gets tackled, but somehow manages to stay afloat here. Cron has it, and she sees some space in the back. She kicks, and it's a foot race. She's coming across. Cron is putting a lot of pressure there on Hoff. Gives her a nice hit, and you got to wonder if that was a little bit high on that one. Lance looks like referee is in agreement, and he does the double whistle.
Captain.
It's a lot of bit high. That might end up being a cheese sandwich right here. We might see a yellow. And the energy was there. The chase, from that chase, she's bent over just a little bit. And what a wallop.
Not low enough. Sure. That's the third one. You guys are now in team morning, okay?
You can pretend that airplane's in the night sky. I mean, the airplane arms don't really help her out at all.
We're not talking about her actions. We're talking about your actions. Okay. You had an opportunity to get lower and target her lower body. Okay. That's what you need to do. Please.
And referee did give some cheese there on that one, Lance. And you can see that Fish is having to have a stern talking to with the team because now they're playing 14 on 15 and they're down.
Whatever. Green captain. Time on.
And wow, turn of events. was a great defensive moment for the Forge to be able to push him back on that kick and get the Forge inside their own 5-meter line. A clean tackle puts them in a great situation for later in this match, being down 2 points. As people slipping on screen, I hope that buddy's okay at the top of the screen there. But a high tackle just completely erodes that, and now the Forge. I speak too soon.
You did. Extremely unfortunate there. And I mean, Hoff, as soon as she grabbed the ball and then went to go ahead and kick for touch, it was a little bit debatable for me, only because of how bad this wind is. And when the number 2 was under a lot of pressure there at the front. And so now, I mean, they are down a man, but I mean, they've got a really good attacking platform here, Chicago Northshore.
Yeah, and maybe they don't go all the way to the wide side channels, to the 15-meter line. Maybe they keep it a central hit up to resource those backs, losing the fullback on that yellow card. But still, great opportunities, a player down.
Loomis gets it off the back. She goes to the left-hand side, and nobody's really able to bring her down here. And she gets about a meter short of the try-zone off of that 8-man pick. Dropping the shoulders, though, are both the Forge and Northshore, so they only stay about a meter short here. Messina is there to connect with Fish. Fish looking for the out-the-back option. She gives a dummy of her own, slices through one, is almost there at the line, and is simply short. Messina moves it to Cron. It looks like Cron didn't have to take a seat. She's still in, and she scores a try. And so 15 on 15. Looks like she just got a talking to here. And so now 15-12, Chicago Northshore finally get the lead in this match.
Excuse me, hold the cheese on this the 5 burger here. The 15 miraculously escapes the yellow, but finds her way in the try zone. And that push right there in the center of the field by Fish, creating the overload. You see so many of these Force players frantic, moving across, with one finding themselves on the wrong side of the ruck, trying to get on sides, and right on the heels of the try line, unable to hold up our tackler earlier that we thought was taking a break, but no, she just took a breather, got some water, and got 5 for Northshore, giving them the lead back. Amazing turn of events here in the booth, but great bit of play for the Chicago Northshore.
Either that or we're in a time machine and that 10 minutes went by too fast. Kick is up and it's looking good. So now 17-12. And Chicago Northshore now are on top. We've got about 25 minutes left to go here in this second half as Lance. We see about 5 substitutes coming on for the Forge.
Yeah, the hit squad is in. That big surge, that big flip. And Forge needs it now more than ever. Down 5. You know, and time flies when you're having fun. That yellow card just went by in a blink of an eye. and just like that, so did the lead for the Forge. The 2-point lead now finds himself in a 5-point deficit. And we're not so close to the final whistle that it should be a frantic or worry, but that sense of urgency has to kick up for the Forge.
Both sides now are going to have to fight continuously as Rossman gets too close to that sideline. The defender who never misses, and Forge take her right out. Now the Forge will go ahead and get the throw in here, as it looks like replacement for when the thrower, Domiko, the number 17, is going to be the one to throw this one in.
And with the subs coming in, we might see a new spark for the Forge. But this game has been the makings of a classic. One team scores, there's a reply. Once that team scores, there's a mistake that gives the opponent a great opportunity to get back the lead. Big hits, classic solo tries. This is making it be one of the better matches of the weekend, this D1 Women's Midwest Championship.
Looks like Brown is also on for LeBrun here at the 9 position. And finding a little bit of energy here are the Forge with all those finishers coming in. Hoff connects with our try scorer here, Patinos. Now they move it back to this right-hand side. Morgante is there. She gets taken to ground after a couple of swing arounds. Brown moving it there to Burkett. Burkett not playing any games with any of y'all. Takes a couple of players down with her. And now the momentum is starting to shift here. Jackson a little isolated, so our new 9 has to go in. Gilbert is there to clean it up. It looks like Brown is back on the feet here. They've got an overload if they can use it, and they're using that out the back. But Hoff, it's way too flat on that multi-layered attack and just gets swarmed by Chicago Northshore. There, Patinos. And now, Lance, you got to wonder if they're starting to settle into those 1-2 pass crashes. I don't know if it'll be able to break the defense.
Yeah, but it's giving them great momentum, great energy. You've seen a big run by Nicole and stolen. Immediately once we talk about what it might not be doing, Chicago Northshore defense shows up and gets the ball back.
And that was by Murphy. My only issue with 1-up rugby is just the fact that at some point somewhere somebody's going to get isolated, and that's what Chicago Northshore does. Right there, Messina moves it to Fish. Fish gives a big boot, and the chase is on. A lot of pressure here as it gives a couple of bounces, and it rolls out into touch. So now Pittsburgh Forge will get this line out, though, as we enter into the final 20 minutes. And a lot of action here in the last 5-10 minutes, Lance. Jeez.
The back and forth of this game is what you asked for a championship. You wanted a championship game to be a back and forth battle with both teams feeling like they could have won or should have won. And that's what we're seeing here. Forge pressing forward, big hits by their forwards crashing. Chicago Northshore takes the ball, he kicks it away, gives himself space. This is the making of a classic.
D'Amico with a nice little trick play connects with Jackson, and then Jackson moves it back to D'Amico where she gets ruffled into touch, and so now Chicago Northshore will get that put in.
And it's fitting that we're literally seeing the championship trophies on the table. We see what they're fighting for. We see what both teams are putting in this effort for. And again, the hits, the running, the layers, the complexity, the wind, everything is making this game quite the showcase.
Oof, and the reach from the number 4, Tunney, to get in that tunnel. She does well, and now the backs are off to the races. A lot of layers here, almost like an onion. Chicago Northshore, they get well over the 50. Cron wants to keep the ball alive, and it looks like it's gone back into the hands of a replacement. And now nobody seems to want it here. It's now Fish, captain, is going to go ahead and set the platform here. Forge, though, do well at marking the man, so they take them quickly to ground. Messina's a little bit slow to get this one out as she connects with Fish. Fish with the centers now, and a behind-the-back pass just does not get itself into the hands of Honey. So we're going to go ahead and have a scrum now for the forward pass. It's going to go ahead and get the scrum for the Forge.
Darren, I got to catch my breath. I'm seeing the ball go left and right. Referee is on top of this. This pass out the back, 2 hits. And that's what you ask from your fly half, to put themselves in harm's way, to get the ball to the space. But the next pass fails Chicago Northshore. Before the tackler gets there, this play is still going. We're off and running, but just trying to get their arms through and throw that over the top looper. Unfortunately, just a little bit forward. And the Forge needing the ball, get the ball. What can they do with it?
Forge making a mess of things at scrum time. They get a couple of meters forward. From there, we see Hoff get it, Morgante get it, and then they move it back inside to a wing. She gets a little bit isolated there, but somehow makes it work. As now the Forge are running a bit sideways here. Chicago Northshore, their defensive line holding strong. Somebody, though, gets caught not rolling away. And so now the Forge will have to make a decision what they're going to do with this penalty.
Yeah, and you see Jess Brown figuring it out. We're going to go with the scrum. She knows what it's going to take. There's no point of going to the line out. We've seen those have been frantic throughout this second half and most of the first half due to the weather conditions. But again, going quick tap might not be the case. Everything says go scrum. And the tackling here, ruck set, ball carrier put down, but just no roll away, or just a little bit too late with the roll away. And Forge, great opportunity. Set the scrum, give it back to their back, see if they can hit up in the middle of the field and set the platform for their forwards to work again.
And an exceptional scrum. Hoff's got time, so she does move it to Patinos. Patinos almost loses the ball. Mel corrals it in and gets them go forward there. They're over the 50. Moving it back over the line. Hoff's a little bit isolated here, so the forwards now having to come across and clean that one up. Brown now with a nice little inside ball. Morgante gets a taste of that medicine there. Brown now moving it into the hands of Matt Way off of a nice inside pop here. Goes over the head of one, behind the back of another, and Patinos now will shift it into the speedster's hand. Looks like that's a replacement here. Arms get caught a little bit high there, but looks like she was going to ground. Referee's happy, so play on as, ooh, you better not get in the way. That's Burkett. Gets them well over the 40 here. Referee now given an advantage for that possible high tackle here. Hoff, yet again, gets tackled into. And now referee finally giving that swift blow to the whistle here. So it looks like the Chicago North Shore side is going to get charged with the high tackle.
Let's listen to the ref.
Right here.
No, sorry,
okay.
Yeah, this is a seatbelt tackle.
Captain, I don't know your number, but please. Yes. I've got a call in from my AR. We've got another high tackle here. As you know, we're on warning.
He says it was the first hit was because she fell into the arm.
Captain, we've got a high tackle here, as we've discussed. Go over to the table over there. Thank you.
I think that might have been the. Yeah, it looks like that might have been the replacement for Chicago North Shore. That's going to be Williamson, who just came on, who's going to go ahead and get more of a break here. About 10 minutes to sit timeout. Think about the body height there on the tackles, and Lance, as fatigue starts to set in, seems like the body height just goes exponentially up.
Yeah, and that's one of the things about this game. As the game wears on, you got to stay proficient. You got to stay technically sound. You can't get lazy because you're fatigued. At the point of moment of contact, you have to be on point. And simply, something as simple as a tackle gives you a disadvantage that is so crucial right now with being in a slim lead margin. You got to play discipline and now to forward. No better opportunity than now to take back this lead.
Use now.
Scrum and the wheel from the Forge is good. Morgante, though, ooh, you could hear that hit all the way up here at the top. Chicago North Shore, I mean, stifle any progress. The ball now going backwards behind the shoulders here as the standards around the breakdown seem to be dropping some. Brown now is going to have to connect with some forwards as everybody's got to work their way backwards. Chicago North Shore keeping everybody on their feet. They're doing well now, pushing the Forge back. Off now, decides to use the boot. It's awkward. Kind of rolls off the right-hand side and then gives it one bounce and then rolls on into touch.
And you can't blame it. The launch speed of this defense from the Chicago North Shore side has been on 10 the entire match. They've been pushing the Forge back on their offensive hit-ups for literally the entirety of this half. They found a way to really stake their claim into this match and show who they are. Sub now coming in from North Shore, more fresh legs. But it seems like you have to kick the ball away just so you can preserve ground, says the Forge.
Not straight, ladies. What do we have, Black?
Coach Trent throws a not straight. So now the Pittsburgh Forge have an option. They elect for that scrum. About 15 minutes left to go here for this D1 Midwest Championship. Looks like a forward has been dropped there, and honestly, Lance, I don't think that it was Williamson that might have gotten that yellow card. I think that it might have been for North Shore, Lamont.
Bind!
Yeah. I don't
but
think
stay tuned. Just know that they're down.
Yeah.
Just know that they're down and out. Okay, 14-15. You've got the Pittsburgh Forge now in possession. And there, Brown, Hoff, and then a double tackle there.
She's
right at center field. Moving it through the hands of a nice straightening line from the replacement. Zimmer adds a little bit of zing to that one there. And there to pick it up yet again is Patinos. Now this is starting to really rev up and turn into something here. That way comes in, connects with Morgante. Morgante, though, shoved back a little bit disrespectfully off of that Chicago North Shore launch. And then right there to bully it right back is Burkett. who keeps the legs going there.
Tackle!
Off tries to come in and make the latch. But this defense really launching up hard on Forge. The placement chips.
Tackle!
Getting a little bit caught high there. She's got to get toppled over the top. As Chicago North Shore, you can hear them starting to panic a little bit on their defense. Forge now looking for an out the back pass. Doesn't connect well. Nobody really showed much ownership of it besides Patinos. Patinos now. And Lance, they're starting to go backwards yet again.
Yeah, and it's just North Shore's defensive pressure. Whenever they run any straight lines, though, the Forge find themselves getting a little bit of space. But if they just try to go wide, it seems like they find themselves meeting the force field.
Off now, moves it back into Brown, and then somehow gets an offload to Jackson here. At about 9 phases now for the Forge, and they're somehow still holding strong here. Kronberg, one of those unspoken heroes. They've got options on both sides. They move it to the left. Burkett starting to lose a little bit of steam here as the North Shore defense is holding exceptionally strong.
Apologies,
Trying to
11.
use the fence and some
No hands, no
footwork
hands,
there.
one step.
Was Chips. Chips works
Use
it back
back.
to Brown. And they're being asked to use it. Hoff now moves it to Pridgeon. Pridgeon gets taken down.
Good rock.
And a beautiful clear out. Gets them some real estate as more come across that way. Our first try scorer. Dots in and then comes back out. Now everybody seems a bit slow to get up here. Domico moves it into
Tackle,
the inside
release.
ball on Hoff. And referee still not noticing much of teams. I mean, neither one really committing any penalties here, Lance.
Yeah, the discipline has stepped up big time after that card.
Discipline and the tackle body height, which is good fix for North Shore here. They still are keeping Pittsburgh Forge right here in the middle. You've got to wonder what's it going to take for them to bust through, and it might be this number 8 who's now off to the races. Drops the shoulder, does it again, and Dvorak, the unsung hero for the Pittsburgh Forge now. 17-17, they've got it tied up, and a kick to come here, and then about 10 minutes left here in this first half, or the second half.
Her name is Carrie. She carried the team on her back with that try, and a few defenders as well. These short lines have been working through this buildup. We've counted at least 16 phases in this buildup, seemed like. And once she had a head of steam, who was usually the hero for the Chicago North Shore side defensively,
May I?
gets bounced off, and Scary Carrie goes in to score to give Forge an opportunity for a lead. And what a bit of play from the Forge offensively.
20 seconds, 15.
Cohesiveness, protecting the ball, crash lines, to the backs preserving the ball, slowing it down, speeding it up, whatever they needed to get forward, they figured it out. And the Forge with a chance to take the lead on this kick.
Tinos revs up. It looks like it's a pretty straight shot here. And referees, the flags will stay down. So 17-17.
10 minutes to go.
We have got a
Understood.
tie ball
Number 4
game
for that.
here. About 10 minutes to go. Lance, you got to wonder if these teams are going to go into overtime.
again?
I mean, not a lot of scoring.
Oh, 10 minutes left, sorry.
A lot of defense. 10 minutes left, says the referee, but a lot of defense. And I've been saying it throughout the course of this broadcast. This is lining up to be a classic. Tied with 10 minutes left for the Midwest D1 Women's Championship. This is what you ask for when you're asking to see who's going to represent the Midwest on the national stage. Let's find out who the best team is through grit, determination against a foe that won't quit. We asked for the storybook of the Midwest Championship. This is the ending for the D1 Women's Championship. What a match so far.
Fish gives a nice deep kick, a lot deeper than expected. Matway, though, she knocks it on deep within the 22. And Lance, is this the opportunity that Chicago North Shore needs? You can see what it means for the team.
I think this is the 4th time it's happened. Once one of the teams scores, On the next kickoff, they give their opponent an opportunity and great scoring position. Happened in the beginning with the knock from North Shore. Now it's happening late with the forge, the knock. And right here is a moment for North Shore to take a deep breath, see what's in front of them. Even though are they still a player down? Yeah, that adds to it, but really taking hold of this moment for their side and for the championship.
Bind.
Looks like
Set.
they are going to still be playing forward down here, as Pittsburgh Forge is really taking advantage of this. She's under a lot of pressure at the back was Loomis. Loomis somehow, though, I mean, just uses all that momentum.
Move, Green, move.
And referee is fine with that turnover there. And so now Pittsburgh Forge have it. Chicago North Shore not happy about it. A nice double tackle comes in, as they're looking to try and get this one back. Cochran was part of that one. Now Chicago North Shore keeping everybody afloat here. They passed the 22.
No, Green, leave it.
Now you got to wonder what the Forge are going to make of this one here, as they continuously get tackled backwards. Hoff has it in hands. He gives it a try and doesn't find touch here, so now Fish has it. Fish uses some footwork here and does a nice over-the-top pass, connects with Williamson. Williamson now looking for options, but I mean, just gets caught up in the leg drive of the Pittsburgh Forge. Referee gives a blow to the whistle here, and Messina. Messina's going to go ahead and go quick. They're now 10 meters, though, so fair game. She's about 2 to 3 meters outside of the try zone, and this could really tip the scales here if Chicago North Shore get over. Drop in the shoulder.
Roll Black
is Lamont. And now the forwards come in for the pick and goes here. Getting caught a little bit high. Pittsburgh Forge does make him pay for it. She gets tackled right back into the mess of things. Ball is available. Messina now moves it to Fish. Fish has got nothing but real estate here. And now, looks like they might have been nearly held up here, but oh, that's going to go for Gerke, the number 13, and heartbreak for the Forge here, 22-17.
And what a absolute maximum moment for North Shore to put it all together. The forwards working, and created all the space on the edge. Fish, easy pass to the try score. And Gerke colliding shoulder to chest with a Forge defender, bringing the hammer down to score the 5 along with it. And Chicago North Shore picking the opportune moment to find their perfective
30 to go,
piece.
14.
They find their set of play that show who they are and what they are. Grinding from the forwards and collision at the try line for the backs. And with this conversion here, could put them in a very comfortable position going into this last 5 minutes, Darren.
Guerra takes her time on this one. The flags do go up because those 2 points mean everything. So now 24-17, and the Pittsburgh Forge, they need a converted try and some to win this game. And Chicago North Shore, I mean, Lance, all they've got to do is just keep hold of the ball, but the Forge haven't made that easy.
They haven't. Better either said than done. We've seen how North Shore kicked the ball off. The Forge knocked it on and were able to steal it back. This could be a moment again where the Forge kicks the ball deep, plays sound defense, and gets the ball back. They've shown they have the ability to do so.
Building it well under a high ball. This is when it counts for them. And so now North Shore are going to have to maintain some possession here and keep that pill for the next 4.5 minutes as they look to be crowned the D1 Midwest champion. One person whose name we've said a lot throughout this match is Murphy. She keeps the ball well. Cron now moves it into the hands of the inside center. She almost gets around, but she's unsuccessful. Eschenbrenner. And the Forge keeping everybody on their feet now as the launch seems to lack a little bit, and an inside space opens up. They almost get through.
Use green.
And things seem to be a little bit disheartened here for the Forge as they've really got to rev up the action here. Cron connects with Rossman. Rossman is off to the races here. She gets finally thrown around by Matway. And they're at the 40 now. Messina looks a little bit of time here. Fish draws a penalty from Burkett after a late hit.
Black captain, come here, 5. We've been flirting with the line all day on number 10. That's the second penalty. You guys are on warning. No more, okay? Time it better. Late hits.
Yeah, that's on that line of maybe a half step too late. It was a pity pat of feet. It's not really one step and hit. It was more like step, half gather, and then contact. Maybe just a little bit late on the timing. I don't necessarily argue that call too much. I don't know where she committed exactly. You know, maybe she committed as the pass was being made, but I'm not too upset with that call. I think the serve's been doing a good job controlling this matchup.
Really good referees all around. As time is on. Set. The top of our screen. Messina with the put in. As now the Chicago North Shore are really trying to milk these last opportunities. Cron breaks a tackle though and is rounding the corner. We've got a swarm of the Forge coming around, but they're not going to need it. She's not going to need anybody. Cron does it herself. In Chicago North Shore, you can put that nail in the coffin and take it home. It looks like you're looking at your D1 Midwest champions after that play from Cron.
Wow, we've seen them a little bit after that last try have a bit of energy, a little bit of go for it, a little bit of gumption, but they found the confidence at the right time. Fake dummy there, inside step, able to fend the defender off. And from here, it is just a foot race. Options left and right, just outrunning the wingers. And Cron puts the team on the board again with an amazing try just to match her first one earlier in this matchup. And that seems to be the try to put the game out of reach. You can see some of the relief from some of these Chicago North Shore players. The game's not over. The game's not over, but that little bit of space just gives you just much comfort that you need, especially in a championship moment.
Ball looks like it's not going to go to the distance on that one. 29-17, and the minutes are dwindling now. You know, we say that nothing is impossible, but Lance, that would be an extremely heavy ask to try and get the Forge to come back and beat North Shore at this point.
2 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, 12 points in less than 3 minutes can be done. Less than 2 minutes maybe can be done, but it takes a very special effort.
They choose to go deep on this kickoff. Again, Chicago North Shore, though, they filled it way well. That way connects with that Chicago player, takes her to ground quickly, and ball gets knocked on here. So, Lance, not impossible, but, I mean, the Forge, they need to show a little bit of gusto here. They're running out of time.
Yeah, this is the time to stand up tall on everything you practice for the season, everything you work for, the entirety of your fall. And essentially your hopes for a national championship comes down to this next 2 minutes and 15 seconds. But as soon as that ball was knocked on, a bit of me said, hold on, wait a minute. Wait a second. No way. Can the Forge do something? Let's see.
Let's see it, Forge. Scrum goes in, and Chicago North Shore not wanting them to go down easily. Hoff gets it, though, moves it out the back to Matt Way. Matt Way does connect with the replacement, and they get it into the hands of Patinos. Patinos, can you do it? Cron, our former try scorer, almost takes her out. Looks like she's missing an ID, almost tries to take her at the club there. Somehow, Pridgeon gets the ball back on the inside here in the Forge now. We're really going to have to rev up the time here. Zimmer gets taken down. Waiting for it is Chips. Chips does a beautiful out the back pass to Hoff. Hoff, though, is not able to fill it with the speed. But guess who's there? It is like that's the number 13 is Pridgeon, and Pridgeon gets that 5 on the board now. So now we're at 27, 29.
Got to be quick to kick off. 5 seconds if you want to kick off.
Oh my goodness, they figured it out. They found a way. They realized to go to the edge, backs to backs to backs. And that heads up play, not to set up the rug, but to go for the ball. She has control of the ball as she goes down into the try zone. The ball is getting fought over just a little bit. And that try puts this game in reach, even with no conversion. It's now a 7-point game, 22-29. And tick, 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 tick. This is essentially last play.
Must re-enter play.
Yep.
I mean,
referee said
right
that's
now,
last play.
everything right now has to be so perfect for the Forge. I mean, possession, this kickoff, I mean, everything. It would be an extremely heavy ask, but we've seen
Must be a legal
no
kickoff,
less
then we'll be in
impossible
dead
things
time.
happen as Fish gets set for this kickoff here. Fish goes high, and they do field it well now. The Forge are off to the races. Taking it down was Johnson. Chicago Northshore now keeping everybody on their feet here as they just look to chip away at the Chicago Northshore defense. A few passes right on through and some good support coming in. You're just getting caught a little bit stagnant here. You got to wonder if Chicago Northshore will force a penalty or force a knock-on. They keep hold of the ball well, though. As Burkett, for the first time, I think, this match, passes it off and gets it to Hoff. Hoff, though, gets met heavily. As now they've got to find the space. But this defensive line from Northshore looking very, very strong. Fold is a bit slow, and so is the pass. Try and move it out the back. Hoff connects with the number 22, Saunders. Saunders is still using the legs here. She gets tackled. Playing some distributor there is Chips. Chips moves it back to Johnson. And they're playing a lot of rugby between this 40 and this 22 here. Miller puts in a nice shoulder check. And the launch, ooh, almost gets them the interception, but Burkett picks it up through the air and lands. I mean, we're well into overtime here, 29-22.
Yeah, this is a pressure cooker. Chicago Northshore, is the line speed the same? Are they getting off on the launch? Are they moving together cohesively defensively? Because all it takes for the Forge is to build a number of phases, which they've shown they can do.
And that's it, team. That's it. You're looking at your D1 Midwest champions after quite the comeback story. A lot of back and forth here for the teams. Lance, final thoughts on the matchup.
One of the things this match was going to come down to is the team that made the least amount of mistakes and were opportunistic defensively. The Forge shown that their defense was strong, but Chicago Northshore had a defensive launch and tenacity in every tackle that led them to a lead that they were able to extend at the very end. The Forge fought valiantly to the last second, but I think the team more deserving to win won this game. They showed up when they need to. And Chicago Northshore are your D1 Women's Premiership Midwest champions. Well deserved for the Chicago side, and great fight from this Pittsburgh Forge side.
Coming up next, we're going to have the Chicago Lions versus the St. Louis Bombers for that men's D1. Stay with us here. And Next Level Rugby, we got a lot more action coming here for you.
Northshore by 7. Yeah.